How do I learn to use manual mode? Time for some fun stuff. Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Slightly late this week, apologies for that, but next week we'll be back out on a Monday or a Tuesday. Anyway, this week on my photography blog, which you can read at rickmcavoyphotography.com, I've started to tell you how to learn to use manual mode, which it might sound dull, but it isn't. It's actually a good thing to do, and there's lots that get out of this. So what did I actually say? Here is, as I like to call it, the answer a bit. To learn to use manual mode, you need to start by putting your camera in manual mode. Take photos with the camera's suggested aperture, shutter and ISO combination. Then experiment with different apertures, shutter speeds and ISOs and combinations of the three. And check out what's happened when you've changed these things. See, it's this practice and experimentation that will help you and me grow as photographers. And that's what I'm all about, helping photographers grow, and I include myself in that. So manual mode, do you have to use it? Well, you don't have to use it, but I strongly recommend that you learn how to use it. And in this blog post, I give you some really good practical ideas, things that you can do with your own photos, so you can see what happens when you change things. This is practical stuff you can do with your own photos that will help you understand exposure and the exposure triangle better. And this will help you take better photos. It will, believe me, it will. I don't know why I say believe me, because that implies if I don't say believe me, what I'm telling you is a pack of lies. So I need to stop doing that, I know. It not only will it help with the exposure triangle, it helps you with a lot of other things. So don't think of this as just the mechanical process of learning how to use manual mode. If you don't know how to use manual mode, there's a chance that you'll be relatively new into photography and all this complicated stuff. So manual mode might have been just a bridge too far, so you might be shooting in program or other creative zone modes, all fine and good. Whatever you do is fine, but it gets you on that learning process, it gets you on that journey of understanding what's going on and what the apertures and shutter speeds do and why it is actually so complicated. Now, it's not so complicated when you understand it, but it's getting to that understanding part that's the difficult bit, and that's why I'm here to help you. Okay, so one thing about this, if you've got a film camera, you might not want to do this. If you've got a digital camera, you're great, because what you're going to do is you're going to take loads of rubbish photos and you're going to import them into your photo editing software of choice. Mine's Lightroom. You use what you want. This isn't a sales pitch. And then you can look at them and see what's happening. So what is manual mode exactly? Well, manual mode, let's tell you what, I'm going to extract something here from the Canon 6D manual. Yes, I'm still using the Canon 6D. In this mode, you set both the shutter and aperture as desired. To determine the exposure, refer to the exposure level indicator in the viewfinder or use a commercially available exposure meter. This method is called manual exposure. M stands for manual. Now that surprised me that they're talking about a commercially available exposure meter. I've been in photography for, well, quite a long time, okay? Let's say more than 40 years, alright, go on. I started early, when I was 1.5. I wish. I've never ever held, used or bought a commercially available exposure meter. Never. I've seen them and I've wondered why you want one when you got one in your camera, and I'm sure there is a very good reason for it, but I've never needed one, so don't worry about that, okay? I'm not going to go through the whole process here. I mean, I tell you how to use manual mode. You set the mode dial to M, you set the ISO speed, you set the shutter speed, the aperture, focus on the subject, check the exposure, take the photo. Okay, that's how you use manual mode very quickly. And you need to turn off things like auto ISO, auto lighting optimizer, anything that's going to automatically affect the exposure. Turn all that off, so it's just down to you. And remember one thing, whatever the camera meter's saying, the photo is taken with the settings that you have set. So if the camera meter is saying the photo is going to be 5 stops overexposed, that's what you're going to get. The camera meter has no influence over the settings used. You set them, and that's the difference. And that's the whole point of this, that you learn how to use them. So check out the blog post at rickmcavoyphotography.com. I go through this in quite a lot of detail. I give you quite a lot of things to do, and at the end of it you'll have quite a lot of rubbish photos. You'll have light photos, dark photos, you'll have photos with no depth of field, photos with lots of depth of field. But what you will have is the starting point, your own reference library of photos and practical examples of the exposure triangle. And that's where your learning begins, and the beauty of this is you're doing it yourself with your own photos and you can build on that. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. I'm still suffering with a bit of the old pandemic stuff, so feeling alright at the moment, so getting there. But yeah, I can't talk for more than 6 minutes basically, so thanks for watching this video. I hope you found this useful. Like I say, check out the blog post on rickmcavoyphotography.com. And while I've still got you, why not check out my splendid Photography Explained podcast, available at all good podcast providers, easy for me to say. And also, there is a website, photographyexplainedpodcast.com. Thanks for watching. I've been Rick McEvoy, and I will see you on the next video. Cheers from me, Rick.